You think strength comes from shouting louder, proving your worth, or never breaking down. But the truth is, mental power isn't about showing force. It's about mastering yourself. Most people are emotional slaves, easily provoked, easily deceived, easily broken. Today we're going to fix that. In this video, you'll learn 7 ruthless lessons that will make you mentally untouchable, less human in weakness, more human in wisdom. Lessons born not from comfort, but from chaos. Because in a world ruled by manipulation and fear, only the cold-minded survive. But control emotion before emotion controls you. They say the greatest wars are fought in silence. Inside the mind of a man who refuses to kneel before his own emotions. Most people are puppets of their feelings. Anger pulls their strings. Fear whispers their choices. Sadness dictates their silence. But those who learn to control emotion rule everything around them. Because the world doesn't reward passion, it rewards precision. Imagine this. A man insults you in front of others. Most people react instantly. They shout, they defend. They lose control trying to protect their pride. But a Machiavellian mind, he doesn't flinch. He listens. He lets the insult echo, but not enter. Why? Because the moment you react, you give power away. Emotion is a leash. The one who holds it commands you. The one who breaks it commands the room. You see, emotion is not your enemy. It's your most dangerous weapon, but only when you can aim it. Think of anger. Uncontrolled, it burns cities. Controlled, it builds empires. Every ruler, every strategist, every leader in history who truly conquered the world first conquered their impulse. They didn't let emotion decide when to act. They let logic decide when emotion was useful. When you act emotionally, you're predictable. And predictability is death to power. The one who can predict you can destroy you. If they know what triggers your rage, they own you. If they know what flatters you, they can manipulate you. But when you're calm, when you show no visible weakness, people fear you. Because they cannot rid what they cannot provoke. There is a reason Machiavelli wrote, "A wise man does at once what a fool does at last." The fool reacts in emotion. The wise man waits for the storm to pass and then strikes with accuracy. Emotional control isn't coldness, it's strategy. It's not the absence of feeling. It's the refusal to let feeling make you a fool. Ask yourself, how many times have you said something in anger that later became your regret? How many times have you walked away from peace because pride blinded your judgment? Every time you allow emotion to lead, you lose twice, once in action, once in reputation. But every time you hold your fire, every time you let silence do the talking, you gain power unseen. To control emotion is to master timing. You may feel rage building inside you, but you let it boil under discipline. You may feel fear rising, but you walk through it as if it doesn't exist. Because fear has no power unless it's visible. Anger has no value unless it's directed. And sadness has no control unless you let it shape your view of the world. In politics, in business, in war, emotion is the easiest weakness to exploit. The world knows how to make you react. The world knows how to make you doubt. It knows how to trigger you into revealing your soul when you should reveal nothing. But when you remain still, when you choose calm over chaos, you become unpredictable, and unpredictability is power. The mentally untouchable know this. Never argue with emotion, never fight with fire. Because those who lose control of themselves in the moment always pay for it in the long run. Control your emotions, and you can walk through betrayal without breaking. You can face loss without despair. You can command a room without speaking a word, because the calm man, the man who can stay unmoved in chaos, is always the most feared. Don't mistake control for weakness. Weakness is reacting to prove you're strong. Control is staying silent because you already know you are. Emotion is a storm that demands attention. But when you become the eye of that storm, still, centered, immovable, you begin to see clearly. You begin to think strategically. You begin to choose not from pain, but from purpose, His. And this is where true mental strength begins, not in suppressing feeling, but in mastering it. When you learn to pause before you react, to think before you defend, to observe before you respond, you turn emotion into your servant, not your master. Every insult becomes information. Every pain becomes a teacher. Every challenge becomes another chance to prove how little control the world has over your mind. Because once you reach that state, His once emotion serves your will instead of controlling it, you become something rare, someone who can't be provoked, manipulated, His, or broken. The calmness you carry becomes your armor. And when the world realizes it can no longer shake you, it begins to respect you, even fear you. Trust less, observe more. The downfall of most people begins the moment they trust too easily. They mistake charm for honesty, words for truth, and kindness for loyalty. But in the real world, especially in the world of power, trust is a currency too expensive to give away freely. Those who survive, those who rise above the rest, understand that not everyone who smiles means well, and not everyone who listens deserves your secrets. The wise don't rush to believe. They watch, they measure. They let people reveal themselves slowly, without asking. Because a person's true nature always leaks through their behavior, through the small inconsistencies they think no one notices. Observation is the weapon of the intelligent. It turns silence into information and patience into protection. The one who observes can see betrayal long before it arrives. The one who trusts too early only sees it when it's too late. Imagine a man who talks about loyalty all the time. He repeats it, he swears by it, he demands it. The weak mind believes him because he sounds sincere. The sharp mind studies his actions, who he helps when no one is watching. How he reacts when power shifts, how he treats those who cannot benefit him. Observation uncovers truth that words always try to hide. Machiavelli understood this long before modern psychology tried to explain it. He wrote that men are ungrateful, fickle, and deceitful by nature, not because they're evil, but because survival makes them selfish. To trust blindly is to invite manipulation. To observe carefully is to control the game without anyone realizing it. When you trust less, you don't become paranoid, you become precise. You stop wasting energy on people who drain it. You stop believing every promise, every compliment, every apology. You begin to look beyond the surface, to the intention behind every action. Because every person you meet is wearing a mask, and the wise don't judge the mask, they wait until it slips. Observation requires patience. You can't read a person by their first impression. You must let them get comfortable enough to reveal themselves. The deceitful always perform in the beginning. They say the right words, play the right role, pretend to share your values. But time always exposes the truth. The observer knows that truth doesn't need to be forced. It just needs to be watched long enough. Most people are desperate to be understood. The wise are desperate to understand. That difference creates distance between the powerful and the powerless. The one who seeks to understand holds control over the one who seeks to be understood. Because when you know how someone thinks, you can predict how they'll act. And when you can predict, you can prevent. This isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming aware. You stop letting your desire for friendship or approval cloud your judgment. You learn to read patterns, to sense inconsistencies, to see beyond smiles. The more you observe, the more people tell you who they truly are, without even realizing it. Their tone changes when they speak about others. Their eyes betray what their words try to hide. The body always speaks what the mouth denies. In every room, there are two kinds of people, the ones who speak and the ones who study. The speakers crave validation, the observers collect data. And when the moment comes to act, the observers always win. Because they've already seen the weaknesses, the desires, the fears of everyone else. They know what to say, when to stay silent, and when to strike. Trust is like a loaded weapon. Give it to the wrong person, and it will be used against you. That's why the wise keep their circle small and their eyes wide open. They understand that most alliances are temporary, most promises are strategic, and most loyalty fades the moment convenience disappears. To be mentally untouchable, you must see people for what they do, not what they say. Trust slowly, question deeply, and never reveal everything you know. The less others know about your thoughts, your plans, and your limits, the safer you are. The moment people understand your emotions, they know how to control you. But when you observe and reveal nothing, you become unreadable. And when they can't read you, they can't deceive you. Observation turns the world into an open book. Every gesture, every hesitation, every inconsistency becomes a sentence that only you can read. The more you practice it, the more silent power you gain. You start seeing patterns others miss. Who's lying, who's pretending, who's plotting. Because the truth is always visible to the eyes that have learned to see without needing to trust. Power lies in perception. In the real world, truth doesn't decide who wins. Perception does. Power isn't always in the hands of the strongest, the smartest, or the most moral. It belongs to the one who can control how others see them. People don't follow reality, they follow the illusion that feels real. That's why the wise don't waste energy trying to prove their worth. They shape how others perceive their worth. Perception is the invisible crown that even kings bow to. A man who understands perception doesn't need to explain himself. His silence becomes mystery, his confidence becomes legend, and his presence demands attention without a single word. People begin to believe what they see, not what is true. And once you control what they see, you no longer need to justify anything. You simply exist as a figure of influence. That is the power of perception. It bends reality in your favor. Machiavelli once said it is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Because fear shapes perception faster than affection ever could. The image you project determines the respect you receive. A calm, calculated persona can command loyalty even from those who secretly despise you. But a reckless, emotional image invites disrespect even from those who once admired you. People are not loyal to truth. They are loyal to strength, or what appears to be strength. Look at history. The greatest rulers were not always the most virtuous. They were the ones who mastered theater, the art of appearance. Julius Caesar, Napoleon, Alexander, they all understood the stage of power. They knew the crowd didn't need the truth. The crowd needed a symbol. So they became one, and that symbol lived longer than their flesh ever could. In the modern world, perception is your personal currency. The way you walk, speak, and react creates your reputation long before you get the chance to prove anything. Every movement sends a message. Every silence builds an aura. That's why the intelligent choose to control the story before others write it for them. They show the world only what strengthens their image and hide everything that weakens it. Because once your image is corrupted, reality no longer matters. People will see what they want to believe. Perception isn't about lying. It's about directing attention. The truth can be complex, but perception is simple. It gives people something clear to believe in. When they see you as strong, they will treat you as strong. When they see you as valuable, they will handle you carefully. But the moment they perceive you as weak, uncertain, or desperate, they'll consume you. Humans are predators of weakness. They don't need to see blood, they just need to sense it. To become mentally untouchable, you must master this silent art. You must learn to wear calmness like armor, confidence like perfume, and mystery like a shadow. Never explain too much. Never let people see your desperation. Never let them know what truly affects you. Because the more they know, the more they can control. And the less they know, the more they must assume. It's in those assumptions that your power grows. People naturally fill silence with stories. They will build myths around those who speak less, but act with purpose. That's why it's dangerous to be too open. The moment you explain your every thought, you become predictable. But when you leave things unsaid, when you act with quiet intention, you become fascinating. And fascination always turns into influence. Power is rarely taken. It's granted through perception. The crowd gives it to you because they believe you possess something they don't. Control their belief, and you control their behavior. Every powerful person in history mastered this psychological rule. Perception shapes loyalty faster than truth ever could. It's not about faking strength. It's about projecting control, even when the ground shakes beneath you. Because those who appear unshaken become untouchable. Understand this. People will always judge you before they understand you. That means you must decide what version of yourself they see first. Present yourself with authority, and they will treat you with respect. Show uncertainty, and they will doubt you. Life doesn't wait for fairness, it responds to confidence. Even if you're unsure, carry yourself like someone who knows. Appearances shape opportunity more than ability ever will. Control perception, and you control reality. People won't remember what you truly are. They'll remember how you made them feel. The image you craft becomes the truth they live by. And once that illusion takes hold, it becomes stronger than fact itself. Detach from approval. The greatest prison is built not of walls or chains, but of opinions. Most people are trapped in it without even realizing it. They crave validation, applause, recognition. They measure their worth through the reactions of others, begging silently to be seen, liked, and accepted. But the truth is brutal. If your peace depends on how others see you, you'll never be free. Detachment from approval isn't arrogance, it's liberation. Think about it. From childhood, you were conditioned to seek approval from parents, teachers, friends, society. You learned that being accepted equals being good. But the moment you chase approval, you give others the power to define your value. You live reacting to their moods, their words, their silence. And in doing so, you lose the essence of who you are. A person who constantly seeks validation becomes easy to control. All someone needs to do is withdraw praise and watch you crumble. Machiavelli understood that true power lies in independence. Not the kind built on isolation, but the kind built on self-sufficiency of the mind. The powerful man acts according to principle, not popularity. He moves by logic, not by likes. He knows that doing what is right often means being misunderstood, even hated, but he accepts the discomfort as the price of authenticity. The weak chase comfort in the crowd, the strong find clarity in solitude. When you stop chasing approval, something remarkable happens. You become unpredictable. Society thrives on predictability. It expects you to conform, to apologize, to seek acceptance. When you don't, you become dangerous. Because you can no longer be manipulated through guilt or praise. People can't bribe you with flattery or break you with rejection. Your emotions stop being their weapon. Detachment doesn't mean you stop caring about people. It means you stop needing their permission to live. It's the ability to stand alone in your beliefs, even when the room turns against you. The approval-dependent man changes his tone, his behavior, even his morals to fit in. But the detached man changes nothing, because he never tied his worth to opinion in the first place. He listens, he observes, but he decides by his own compass. Approval seeking is emotional slavery. You become addicted to external validation the same way others become addicted to power or pleasure. It feeds your ego for a moment, then leaves you emptier than before. The applause fades, and you need another dose. It's endless. But when you detach from that cycle, you find something far more valuable. Peace that cannot be taken away. Because it doesn't come from others, it comes from knowing who you are when no one's watching. Watch how society operates. People post, speak, dress, even think according to what will get them approval. They say what sounds good, not what's true. They hide their flaws to fit the narrative, but the mentally untouchable reject that illusion. They understand that authenticity always threatens those who live by pretense. And so they embrace being disliked, because being disliked for truth is far better than being loved for lies. The ones who change the world rarely fit in. They're criticized, mocked, doubted, yet they move forward, fueled not by validation, but by conviction. They understand that public opinion shifts like the wind. One day you're praised, the next day you're condemned. You can't build peace on something that's unstable. The only approval worth seeking is your own, earned through discipline, integrity, and truth. When you detach from approval, you stop explaining yourself. You stop wasting time convincing others to understand you. You start walking differently, not arrogantly, but freely. Because you realize that no one truly sees the world as you do, and no one ever will. Trying to make them agree is like trying to control the tide with your hands. It's futile. The strong let go. They speak their truth and let silence carry the rest. Understand this. Approval is the cheapest currency. People trade it easily because it costs them nothing. But it costs you everything if you depend on it. When you stop seeking it, you start earning respect. Because respect doesn't come from pleasing everyone, it comes from standing firm when everyone disagrees. It's in your restraint, your consistency, your calm defiance that people begin to notice your strength. You'll find that when you no longer chase approval, the same people who once ignored you begin to follow you. Because confidence built on independence attracts more loyalty than flattery ever could. Detachment from approval is the silent declaration that says, I no longer need to be seen to know I exist. And when that realization settles into your mind, you stop living like a shadow and start living like a ruler of your own reality. Turn pain into calculation. Every powerful mind in history shares one secret. They didn't escape pain, they used it. Pain is life's most brutal teacher, but also its most honest one. Most people run from it, numb it, or complain about it. But those who learn to turn pain into calculation become untouchable. Because while others are busy feeling sorry for themselves, they're quietly building something unstoppable out of their suffering. Pain either breaks you or sharpens you, depending on how you respond. Think of betrayal, rejection, failure. These moments cut deep. They strip you of comfort, of illusion, of everything you thought was secure. And yet, that is where true clarity begins. Pain exposes truth faster than comfort ever will. It reveals who you can trust, what truly matters, and what weaknesses still live inside you. To a Machiavellian mind, pain is not tragedy, it's data. Every wound holds information. Every loss shows you what went wrong. Every heartbreak uncovers your emotional dependencies. Pain is feedback, not punishment. When you stop taking pain personally and start analyzing it strategically, you step into real power. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? That question alone transforms suffering into strategy. It makes you calm in crisis because you realize pain is not chaos. It's communication. It's life showing you your blind spots in a language only the disciplined can understand. Look at history. Every great mind, every strategist, every conqueror was forged through pain. Julius Caesar was betrayed by his closest allies. Niccolò Machiavelli was exiled and disgraced. Napoleon was humiliated, defeated, forgotten. Yet every one of them used pain as fuel. They studied their failure like a map, identifying the mistakes that others ignored. Pain made them cautious, observant, and ruthlessly focused. That's what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. Most people suffer and stop. The strong suffer and study. Pain is not your enemy. Your reaction to it is. When something breaks you, instead of drowning in self-pity, ask yourself, how can I use this? Every insult, every disappointment, every loss carries energy. You can either waste it by feeling bitter, or convert it into something powerful. The mentally untouchable always choose the latter. They don't allow pain to define them. They turn it into a weapon. Emotional control begins with perspective. When pain strikes, the weak think they've been cursed. The strong think they've been chosen to learn, because pain doesn't visit the lazy. It visits those who dared to try, to love, to lead, to dream. You cannot evolve without it. Growth demands discomfort, but instead of drowning in that discomfort, you must dissect it. What patterns led to it? What choices made it possible? How can you prevent it from repeating? That's how pain becomes calculation. The more pain you experience, the more depth you gain. The deeper your wounds, the sharper your mind becomes if you refuse to waste them. Pain forces you to slow down, to pay attention, to question everything. It cuts through arrogance and illusion, leaving only what's real. And when you rise from it, you carry a wisdom that no comfort could have ever given you. That wisdom becomes your silent armor. Those who have truly suffered but learned from it become impossible to manipulate. You can't threaten someone who's already faced loss. You can't deceive someone who's already seen betrayal. You can't control someone who's already survived humiliation. They've already paid the price of awareness. Their mind becomes precise, detached, analytical. They no longer fear pain because they've learned how to use it. Pain also purifies ambition. When you suffer, you realize who you are without the applause, without the distractions. You see what goals still burn inside you even when everything else fades. That's when you find purpose. Not in comfort, but in crisis. Because pain strips away the unnecessary, leaving only what's essential. It doesn't destroy you, it reveals you. The truth is, comfort creates weakness, but pain creates power. Comfort teaches you nothing. Pain teaches you everything. It forces you to adapt, to think, to fight. Every scar on your soul is proof that you refuse to give up. Every disappointment is a lesson written in invisible ink, waiting for you to decode it. The wise don't waste time resenting it. They study it until it becomes their strategy. So the next time life wounds you, don't hide from it. Observe it. Record it. Ask yourself, what is this teaching me about others? It's about myself, about my path. Because every moment of pain is a message from life itself urging you to evolve. And those who learn to translate that message stop being victims of fate. They become its students. Pain may visit everyone, but only a few know how to turn it into calculation. Master silence as a weapon. The most dangerous person in any room is not the one who talks the most. It's the one who says nothing but sees everything. His silence has always been misunderstood as weakness, when in truth, it's the highest form of control. A talkative man exposes his mind. A silent one hides his strategy. When you master silence, you no longer need to fight for attention, because your stillness demands it. Silence unsettles the insecure, intimidates the arrogant, and empowers the intelligent. People fear silence because it forces them to face themselves. Most fill it with noise to feel important, to feel in control. But the Machiavellian mind understands that silence is control itself. It's the art of saying less but meaning more. His. It's the ability to listen to what others reveal in their rush to be heard. Because the more they speak, the more they expose. The more you stay silent, the more power you collect. In politics, business, and even in personal relationships, those who dominate conversations often reveal their weaknesses. They brag to hide insecurity. They justify to hide guilt. They talk to convince themselves they're in control. But the silent observer listens, studies, and remembers. Every unnecessary word becomes a clue. Every emotional outburst becomes an opening. His silence gives you time to think while others drown in their own noise. Machiavelli understood this well. Speech can be dangerous because it gives others something to use against you. His words once spoken can't be recalled. They can be twisted, misinterpreted, or weaponized. But silence cannot be misquoted. His silence gives you the advantage of ambiguity. No one can predict your next move because you've given them nothing to analyze. In a world addicted to attention, silence becomes the ultimate rebellion. You must learn to let others underestimate you. Let them talk. Let them explain themselves, expose themselves, prove themselves. The wise man listens, not because he's impressed, but because he's collecting intelligence. The loud man leaves traces of his intentions everywhere he goes. The silent man moves invisibly, striking only when it matters. That's why silence is not absence, it's preparation. Observe how people react when you stay quiet during an argument. They grow uncomfortable. They start guessing what you're thinking. They fill the silence with more words just to break it. They reveal their insecurities, their fears, their guilt, all without realizing it. You win not by speaking louder, but by speaking less. Because silence forces others to reveal what you don't even need to ask for. Silence is also the mark of emotional control. The weak react immediately, the strong pause. They take a breath. They let emotions settle before words escape. That pause, those few seconds of silence, often decide the difference between regret and victory. Because when you master silence, you master timing. You don't respond to provoke, you respond to end. You don't speak to impress, you speak to influence. There's also a psychological power in silence that most underestimate. When you speak rarely, people start paying more attention when you do. Your words gain weight because they are scarce. Silence turns your voice into a weapon. It sharpens its edge. The more disciplined your silence, the more powerful your presence becomes. You start to command attention without effort, respect without demand, and influence without noise. In the game of life, silence is your shield and your sword. It shields you from manipulation because no one can twist what you never said. And it becomes your sword because it cuts through deception, revealing who people are when they can't read you. Silence forces them to show their true selves. It exposes those who depend on validation, those who panic in uncertainty, those who mistake noise for strength. The quiet man is not passive, he's calculating. He lets others believe they hold control while he's already seeing 10 steps ahead. His silence is not emptiness. It's energy being focused inward. It's the mind sharpening its strategy while the rest waste theirs on words. That's why people feel uneasy around true calmness. It's not normal to them. They mistake it for indifference, but deep down, they know it's power. Every time you resist the urge to explain, defend, or argue, you're training your mind to lead. The world will try to provoke you into reaction, to pull words out of you, to make you play on their level. But silence keeps you above the noise. It lets the storm pass while you remain untouched. And when you finally choose to speak, your words cut deeper because they come from a place of thought, not impulse. The more you practice silence, the more you see how people expose themselves when faced with it. They start revealing motives, confessing truths. showing weaknesses, all because they can't handle the weight of what isn't said. Silence becomes your test, your filter, your armor. His. It's how you separate those who understand your strength from those who only understand noise. And in that stillness, you find something few ever reach: absolute control over yourself and everyone trying to read you. In the end, the path to becoming mentally untouchable is not paved with comfort, nor is it built on kindness or validation. It's forged in the silent moments when no one believes in you, when the world doubts you, when you are left alone with nothing but your will to rise. The ruthless lessons we've uncovered: self-control, strategic detachment, calculated silence, emotional mastery, isolation, and power over perception, are not meant for those who seek approval. They are for those who seek dominion over their own mind. Machiavelli once implied that the wise man learns to move in a world full of wolves without becoming one himself. But he also knows when to bare his own teeth. The mentally untouchable individual walks through chaos without losing balance. He's not moved by praise, nor broken by insult. He acts when others hesitate, observes when others speak, and endures when others crumble. Ask yourself, do you want peace, or do you want power over your own emotions? Do you want comfort, or do you want control? Because the truth is, comfort breeds weakness, but struggle breeds resilience. Every betrayal, every rejection, every moment of pain is not an obstacle. It's a test to see whether you can endure the fire without begging for escape. When you become mentally untouchable, no one truly has power over you. People can talk, betray, disappear, or hate you, and you will still stand unshaken, calm, and calculating. Because your strength no longer depends on others, it lives within your mind. And the one who controls his mind controls his fate. So, remember this: the world doesn't reward the fragile, it bows to the unbreakable. The choice, as always, is yours.